needs to do is press the play button or use the T-bar like I taught her.
He's in replay.
I didn't teach her that
Yep.
because I thought that it would come off red. Tell me when we're all we'll go into Anthem, shut up, and then go into key players after. Make sense?
April Fools is right around the corner, but no jokes are being taken tonight in Orange. Two former national champions face off under the Friday night lights, hoping to prove they can still compete in the Wild Wild West. It's the 3-2 Grand Canyon Antelopes taking on the 4-4 Chapman Panthers. Face off coming up right after this.
Whose walks rise and bright stars through the veil of light. Oh, ramparts we walk was so gallantly stand. And rock is
And with that, we welcome you upstairs alongside former part-time high school lacrosse player before he injured his leg, Lucas Patton. I'm Nico Schwegler. Thanks for joining us along for the ride. Lucas, two historic programs in this renewed rivalry, both playing with opposite philosophies this season. These two teams certainly looking for an impact win here tonight.
Yeah, obviously, partner, both these sides are very familiar with playing each other inside the SLC. We'll start off with Grand Canyon University. And, you take a look at this side. The Antelopes, and obviously on offense, they're going to be building a lot inside the middle of the range, and this man right here is going to get it done exactly. Overall, Harrison Garash has been seemingly unstoppable so far this season.
Certainly has been, partner. The freshman out of Scottsdale has been on another level, part of an all-freshman attack which has lit up teams, including the number 1 and number 2 teams in the country, BYU and Utah Valley. Meanwhile, on the other side, Rocco Reginelli coming off arguably the best game of his career with 5 goals against Colorado State.
Yeah, Rocco Reginelli, due to all the injuries, Jack Cutler and company for this Chapman Panthers side, this is the man that they're going to rely on right here. He has the eye black on. He has Batman. This is the Dark Knight that these Panthers need here in the sunset in Southern California to rely on. He's going to be the engine of this midfield. And if he can have a good game, this game can be explosive. The nature of its history has proven that it can be a very good matchup, and I think it's going to be tremendous, partner.
15 shots last game. That's half of his total this season. And we mentioned those two teams, the opposite philosophies. Obviously, Chapman struggling to put goals in the back of the net. Grand Canyon so far doing a great job of it this year.
And the big thing for Grand Canyon, I think, is going to be protecting their face-off guy. They only have one of them. And for Chapman, Eric Torrey, he's been great so far, and he gets us underway.
Eric Torrey gets us underway here at Wilson Field. Peter Miltenberger getting yet another start alongside Rocco Reginelli, Brody Champion out there. Nico Orsino, Holden Walker, and Ben Carvalho. A unit that we haven't quite seen as much of. You mentioned the infirmary that Joel Callis is currently working with, especially on the attacking end. Interesting to see how these new units will gel together.
Yeah, and I think they're going to heavily rely off the champion throughout the season. For Chapman University, he's been great, and he's the real player on offense who sticks to offense that has that expertise in front of the cage. Champion.
Inside feed, Carvalho tips it up and in, and the Panthers lead by 1. Ben Carvalho, the leading point getter on the Panthers this season. Already coming in strong as a freshman, now with his 17th point of the year.
And you have to give credit where credit's due, because the Panthers were just able to sneak inside the cage and not get a zone violation as well. Great footwork from Carvalho. He's wearing the number 44. Last year, Coach Joel Callis' guy was Dante DeColabis, the junior attackman, who wore 44 as well, living up to the expectations that jersey number has.
You see it there, just got a little deflection from the backside, and it gets past the freshman goalkeeper, Matthew Oversteg. And the Panthers back-to-back draw controls. Eric Torrey, what a revelation he's been in year number 1, allowing the Panthers to get on the scoreboard early.
Yeah, and Eric Torrey, I mean, in that last game against Colorado State where they unfortunately weren't able to get the win, 15 out of 19, you have to give him a lot of credit, because for being a freshman, especially considering how much the Panthers relied on Cody Shevelson last year, he's been done a great job at just adjusting to the position, although the lack of collegiate experience that he came into with the season.
Brief stoppage in the early goings of this one. See the first action for the second line with Tate Wardell, the freshman, joined alongside Patrick Sabri, as well as Brody Bain, the freshman from Encinitas, California.
And I think it's going to be a lot of pressure on Wardell's shoulders. Obviously, the freshman's been incredible so far throughout this season. He had a hat trick against Colorado State last time out, so he's a player, although young, who these Panthers can truly rely on offense.
All smiles from him, trying to get back in the win column. Chapman on a 3-game losing streak. They dropped one in overtime to current number 4 UC Santa Barbara. And then, starting off their spring break, instead of some extra vacation that they would have gotten in the Rocky Mountains, instead, it felt like midterms continued with those 2 big tests. Panthers with 65 on the shot clock as we get reset here from Wilson with a 1-point lead. Champion out to Wardell, now working from the attacking zone. Usually a midfielder. Obviously, the Panthers need to change things up, trying to avoid their first 4-game losing streak in the MCLA era. Wardell lines it up. And his first opportunity goes awry. Grand Canyon with their first chance on the offensive end.
And this will be a big opportunity for Grand Canyon, partner. We spoke with head coach Jeff Guy before the game, and he said that the offense is going to be built out of the midfield.
Making his way all the way upfield, Tyler Soner, one of those impact midfielders for Grand Canyon. Cole Jensen. And here's Cam Seymour, a Panthers killer in the past. He has 8 points in his last 2 games, 6 of them coming in the assist, providing for his teammates. Mills gives him a few checks. Xiong lines it up, and it squeaks past. A big save from Ryan Sugar, and that's a big confidence booster for the sophomore goalie.
It really will, especially considering how difficult of a game he had last time against Colorado State. Statistically speaking, one of the worst games of his career as a Chapman Panther. So to start off a game with a strong save like that, I'm sure is going to mean the world to him.
Seymour. Now for Damian Xiong, sophomore from Vancouver. Seymour scurries over to his right. Up to the X with Garage. Team high 17 goals for the freshman this season, and Ben Bauman takes it away, but then has it taken away from himself, and Anthony Mills comes to collect and finally able to release it away to Ryan Sugar. Panthers in a bit of trouble here with their goalie outside the cage. And the Panthers somehow come away unscathed, a bit dangerous in the early goings of this one.
And that just might be the Panthers expressing some frustrations from the last few games or so. Obviously, they haven't had the best matchups in this spring break of adventure that they had over in Colorado, especially for Brian Sugar out there, who you saw.
Ethan Rosselli into the game for the first time alongside Brett Enderle. Chapman always switching around these midfield units. Who can they get the best out of? Currently on this 3-game losing streak. Miltenberger had his first career goal against Colorado State. Can't find his second. It's a big save from Oversteg, who's been phenomenal to begin his collegiate career, taking over for the former All-American Jake Hives.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big one in this game, because when we spoke with Coach Guy, obviously it's always a heartbreaker to lose a player like Hives, but so far the freshman in goal Oversteg has been doing a very good job at just living up to the expectation.
We'll get a little bit more early traffic. Enderle, but Oversteg up to par. You know, we talked earlier with Coach Guy and the fact that you lose a guy who was the SLC Defensive Player of the Year in Jake Hives. But the way that Oversteg has played so far this season, you think that he's a seasoned junior or senior. Jensen. Now for Damian Xiong. 12 goals for the sophomore this year. Hodgkinson. Out to me is Harris Mirza, getting his first chance as a long stick midi, taking over for the injured Russell Wilkinson. Xiong onto that left hand now. Hanamoto always in full pursuit. Seymour spins, shuffles to the X. Bauman comes out to meet Garage, and he throws it away. There to clean it up is Caden Attenbury. And JCU didn't realize the shot clock was already ticking down, and the Panthers, we know the defensive prowess of this team coming off their worst defensive performance of the season. How important is it for Joel Callis' side to have a big first quarter on the defensive end?
It's incredibly important, partner. Obviously, for the Chapman Panthers, they're known to having hot starts on offense in the first quarter or so, but the defense is going to really win this game. Obviously, you have some younger players in the mix, Anthony Mills, Ben Bauman, a personal friend of ours as well. It's a matter of just playing solid defense. That's the one thing that they've been lacking in the last 2 seasons as a program. If they can fix that solution, I'm sure this Panthers side will start skyrocketing back into the top 10.
Panthers currently number 16 in the nation despite 3 straight losses. A team that feels like they should be in the top 10 at a moment's notice. if they're at their best. Carvalho, the inside cut, and once again, his second of the day, and Chapman doubles their lead.
And the precision on that pass, partner, to just find Carvalho again by the front zone of the cage, for him to just hide a low, smack it down to get his brace in the game. Those are the type of passing plays that these Panthers need to have. So far, it's been working excellently for them. They've been able to sustain the pressure from GCU on offense. And on defense, the Panthers have been just about holding him, but Ben Carvalho, excellently done from the young man.
GCU will take over after the infraction from Eric Torrey. Ben Carvalho, 4 goals in 2 games. And he's off to a hot start once again. Chapman feeling good to be back home. We talked with both coaches earlier today. Both of them always saying with this matchup, especially at this field, we know what these two programs did a decade ago. Chapman winning in 2016 over Grand Canyon. The Antelopes sandwiching with 2 national titles of their own in 2015 and 2017, including taking down Chapman in the year later. That one hit the pipe. And a push in the back. Sends it back Chapman's way. Bit of a scare for Ryan Sugar, but so far a big bagel on the board for GCU. Mills down the tarmac. Anthony Mills.
It's not often time you see a player like Anthony Mills get that far up the field, partner. Obviously, on defense, since his freshman year, he's been an outstanding player, but on that instance, not able to get a shot to his name on target.
Well, that's going to be part of the name of the game for Joel Callis.
100%.
Asking a little bit more of your players in the versatility department. Here's Miltonberger. Out for Tate Wardell. Miltonberger. Sabri. Bame. Miltonberger collects. Upper shelf. What a finish from the freshman. First home goal for Peter Miltonberger of his career. And the Panthers off to the quick start at Wilson.
And again, I'll keep talking about it, partner. The 1-2 punch in between the pass inside and then not getting the crease violation and getting that shot off in time has been working perfectly for these Panthers. Now, they have to settle down, they have to relax, and if they can just stay compact on defense and keep taking advantage of the opportunities on offense, then this game will continue. But GCU, they are known to have a great midfield, so you got to watch out on that front.
The high-powered offense for GCU so far. Unable to come away with anything, it's the Chapman offense, which is struck first, a familiar sight for Joel Callis. The question is, can they keep it going into the second half? Seymour, out to Garage. Yet to see the leading goal scorer get a true opportunity. Nearly had it there, but up to par. Ryan Sugar makes the save.
And one thing that we've been seeing a bit early from this GCU side is just kind of dusting off the cobwebs, you could say. They haven't played in around a month, and the last time they were playing was against USC, one of the not-so-great teams in the SLC, you could call them. So now you're playing a nationally ranked team. How can you stay on top?
Going for the wraparound was Marshall Moore. Instead, it got jarred loose. This Chapman defense playing a little bit more like what we saw to close out February, heading into the first week of March.
Yeah, and the big thing is that these Panthers just seem more connected. Obviously, when we spoke with head coach Joel Callis before the show started, the one thing that he emphasized was that they just really seem a lot more connected, with number 17, Nico Orsino, helping out alongside Shannon Hanamoto, the captain in defense pretty much. Both of those players have been just emphasizing sticking together as a team, no more pointing fingers. And so far, in this game, it's been working out in favor of them.
Brody Champion with it after the high IQ move from Shandon Hanamoto to roll it away. This Panthers offense outscoring their opponents now by 10 in the first quarter, including the 3 that they have here tonight. Rosselli. Sharapoom. It's been a quiet month for Ethan Rosselli, this midfield, including Brett Enderle. Can they find it going at home? Sharapoom on a beeline past the top bar.
And the one thing that the Panthers have been doing a good job, I might sound like a broken record here, but their offensive pressure, they've just been able to take shots more. Obviously, if your shot's not on target, it can't go in, but the pressure always still adds onto a team's defense.
Panthers can take their time with a flag flown. Sharapoom lines it up once again, and now a power play coming up for Chapman. We'll see what the call is, but right now if you're Grand Canyon, it feels like this defense is reeling, Lucas.
Yeah, it truly does, and obviously for Grand Canyon, it's their offensive midfield that's known. When you have the loss of a player like Jake Hives in the cage, a lot of work to do on defense, especially considering how young this GCU side is.
13 freshmen coming into this program with Jeff Guy. GCU losing 5 all-conference players, including, as you mentioned, Jake Hives, the reigning SLC Defensive Player of the Year from between the pipes. Walker. Wardell on his left. Wardell lines it up, it bounces in! What a shot, Tate Wardell. It's 4-0 Chapman.
And Tate Wardell just running off of that momentum on a personal note from that Colorado State game, gets the first to his name in this first quarter of action. And, well, for the freshman in this season, he's been really that hot shot walking around campus. He knows, he exudes confidence, and in that instance, it works out to perfection for him.
This Chapman bench fired up. A sight that we haven't seen very much of over these past 3 games. Trying to avoid their first 4-game losing streak in the MCLA era. Right now, if you're Jeff Guy getting punched in the mouth in this first quarter, what is he telling his guys in that huddle?
Well, he's probably telling them to settle down and start playing their style of lacrosse. Obviously, they haven't played in a long time, but it's just a matter of coming and just kind of collecting themselves as a team, figuring out, hey, this is what these Panthers are doing. They're applying lots of pressure. They're riding our offense aggressively the second we get the ball. How can we prevent that? Maybe start mixing it up a bit. Obviously, they like to play the fastball in the midfield. Maybe start playing some long balls just to get rid of that pressure, getting rid of the ball. Just a matter of subduing the Panthers' imminent pressure, and if they can do that, I think they can tie back up in this one.
Win game so far between Chapman and GCU, just the 1 penalty coming up. Chapman taking full advantage so far. And there you see the 2023 MCLA Coach of the Year, Joel Callis. He has this team trending in the right direction once again, at least for the first 10 minutes of this game. And with all the questions that were asked of this offense in particular over the past week, so far it feels like the continuity's back in orange.
It truly does, and obviously this will be a huge game for them. They haven't played at home in a long time. They're back. This isn't the homecoming, you could call it, but it's their debut in the SLC for the season. Last year, it was very disappointing. It came down to the last game against San Diego State on their senior day. They weren't able to get it done, so they fell short, but it's just a matter of getting back to those winning ways, getting into the SLC, having a deeper, even if you don't win it, just having that confidence and regaining that type of momentum in the SLC and getting that overall knowledge around the MCLA that, hey, the Panthers are back. And if they can keep up this score and this type of offense in this game, it should be electric.
Cole Jensen, one of the standout freshmen. He's trying to get acquainted with the rivalry here in Orange. We talked about it earlier with head coach Jeff Guy for Grand Canyon, as well as Joel Callis earlier today. The fact that a lot of these players just don't know what happened a decade ago between these two teams. 2016, Chapman taking down Grand Canyon in the national championship. 2017, the opposite result. It feels like a lot of these players still trying to find that fire that we saw at this very field not too long ago.
Yeah, it truly was, and obviously, me and you, partner, we weren't here a decade ago, but the folklore that was left from those performances is something of legend, and these Panthers might have forgotten it. They might have put the history under the bridge, and it's just a matter of understanding, hey, we got to regain our confidence. We got to get back to that culture that they have created based on how competitive this matchup has been in recent history.
Panthers with a man up on the power play. Already with a 4-goal lead here in the first. Carvalho has 2 of those. Walker, bounce shot, goes just up and over.
Skywalking, huh? That was a great quote from the PA announcer there, partner.
Wardell. Champion. Wardell. Out to Reginelli. Rocco Reginelli sails all the way up into the air and finally picked up by Overstay. Rocco is coming off a big 5-goal game against Colorado State. Stick goes flying. And GCU comes away down a man without a goal conceded, still down by 4, looking for their first of the game. Tie up in the middle of the park, somehow able to get away Tyler Soner for just a moment. And finally a flag flies. 3 guys draped all over him in the midfield.
Yeah, and that might be on Wardell there. He just kind of got a little bit too physical, and that's kind of what you want. Obviously, you never want to encourage violence, but you want to encourage that grittiness that this Panther side needs. And Tate Wardell, throughout this season, has proven, partner, that he can be that gritty player. He can get down in the trenches and fight with players and argue with players, and maybe drop the shoulder a bit, gets a little bit physical. And so far, it's worked out excellently for him, and he's already got 1 to his name.
So it looks like Anthony Mills, the sophomore, will be the one to sit in the chair for Chapman. 3:51 left in this first quarter. The Panthers up 4-0 to close out this spring break. Also got a game against Arizona State coming up on Sunday. GCU will travel just down south to San Diego to take on the Aztecs as well at 1 p.m.
Checking up to the Lopes 0. Atterbury.
Harrison Garage. We saw him working from behind the crease earlier in the game, now working from all the way at the top in the midfield. Quick passes here from the Antelopes. Attenbury. Damian Seong. Big time shot, Caden Attenbury. Right on the money, and GCU has their first.
And that was just a slip up from these Panthers defense. They got to come together. They got to collect, say, hey, let's stay to our man. Let's not switch up on zone. We saw Shannon Hanamoto on that one just leave his man, which left the GCU player open, and credit where credit's due. He didn't have a lot of time to get that shot off, and he was able to do it excellently. They get 1 on the board.
And any alumni in the house, I see somebody over there too. What's up?
The junior from Chaska, Minnesota, gets his 3rd of the season. And the Cosmic Ballet, as you like to call it, goes GCU's way. Cruz Clay always going to be in a tussle with Eric Torrey on this beautiful Friday evening in Southern California. Flipped up and over for Rhett Gordon. Still a bouncer. Whose ball will it be? GCU takes over.
Hanamoto drops in 10.
Here's Cam Seymour. Working from the 45.
Dropping in 41 for the Lopes. Dropping in 0.
Seymour with 3 points in that 11-6 win for GCU over the Panthers last year in Phoenix. Attenbury. Cuts back inside. Caden Attenbury took a deflection on the way there, and it's easy pickings for Ryan Sugar.
Lucas Losi Chapman back on attack.
Yeah, and I think that's a great save from Sugar right there. Just staying composed, allowing the ball to come to you. Obviously, I never played lacrosse as a goaltender, but
Shot on. Brody Champion, 88.
Brody Champion unable to find his way into the back of the net for the first time today. Seems like there's a different pep in the step of Chapman, however, despite the 19-15 loss, 15 their season high so far, putting up the goals.
Yeah, and if you're in this instance right now for the Panthers, just don't get in your head. One thing that we've seen from these Panthers is they'll score a lot, they'll do a great job, and then they'll go into the second half, or they'll go down, or they'll concede a goal, and then they just drop the confidence. If they can hold that confidence, they're one of the better teams in the MCLA.
Reginelli rips the ropes, and the Panthers back up by 4.
Rocco Reginelli, 5 spot. Goal comes at 153. Chapman on the board with 5. GCU 1.
The top scorer for the Panthers this season has his first.
Digging in, Eric Torrey.
And that's just the leadership that Reginelli has on this side. He understands the role that he has for these Panthers, especially considering the injury situation that they're in with star player Jack Cutler not being able to come out on offense. Excellently done from him to step up to the plate and execute.
Eric Torrey shot out like a lightning bolt after that face-off. Panthers get the possession back once again with just over a minute and a half left in this first frame.
Patrick Seabury. Dropping in 6.
Brody Bame
Tate Wardell.
out there with Sabri and Tate Wardell. Bame. Miltenberger. Wardell didn't get the handle on him. Miltenberger shovels it out. Sabri comes to collect. Quick switch, and it's picked out of midair. What a play from Caleb Brager.
Takeaway working 7. Caleb Brager.
Senior captain has had a quiet year so far, but he's been a player who can make an impact against the Panthers with 3 career goals. Wind up shot, what a finish!
13. Cole Jensen gets first unassisted.
Cole Jensen says jumpin' jack. Grand Canyon down 5-2.
And now we're starting to see that midfield of GCU starting to develop. You saw the ball get picked off by Brazier. Then you saw Cole Jensen get it, just smack it down, and now they're starting to move a bit faster than we've seen them in the first minutes or so of this first period. Obviously, they had to dust off the cobwebs, but now that they're there, how can they hold it? Only time can answer that one, partner.
Well, obviously, we got to talk in some hypotheticals, but how can they hold it going on in this game?
It's just a matter of relying on that midfield. If you can anchor down your defense and then have your attackmen just kind of play relatively shallow to support the midfield, contain possession, teams get frustrated when they don't have the ball. So if GCU has it, these Panthers could collapse on defense.
Cam Seymour with less than 20 seconds left in the first quarter. Lined up shot goes just beyond the right post.
Coming to 17, Marshall Moore.
11.2 left on the clock. Garage has to go. Behind the back. One final shot, Xiong. Safe hands from Ryan Sugar. The Panthers up 5-2, and while GCU got the last goal, it feels like Chapman punched him in the mouth.
Yeah, and that's what this defense really has needed. They've needed that defensive ability to just kind of sucker punch teams in the jaw, stop them from scoring, even if it takes a double team on a one player, which causes a poor pass like we just saw moments ago with the BTB. It's that ability to just prevent an offense from getting any momentum going. So far, they've given up 2 early goals, but they've scored 5 to make up for it.
Joe Callis trying to get these players on the same page. Same thing for this GCU coaching staff. As we take a look at that last goal from the Antelopes. What a beautiful play there from Cole Jensen, the freshman. Now with his 4th goal of the season, has 14 assists as well. And it feels like this young 3-headed monster with Jensen, Xiong, and Garage certainly going to be an instant impact trio for the rest of their time in the SLC.
I'm sure it truly will, partner, and it's just a matter of this Chapman defense reading their reads quicker. Obviously, in that instance, Pandis was hot, couldn't step up in time, allowed a goal. The first goal that Grand Canyon University scored earlier on was also a mistake, this time coming from Shannon Hanamoto. You know, on a personal note, I gotta love the guy. I unexpectedly saw him over in Italy at a pasta making course in November during Thanksgiving week break that we had here at the university. And great guy, but you just can't allow players of GCU's caliber to get into that space because they will take advantage of you.
They certainly took advantage when they had the opportunities. Ryan Sugar, though, fantastic in the cage once again here at home. Panthers looking for their 4th win at Wilson this season. Joe Callis pushing all the right buttons in that first quarter. See Cody Shevelson out there with Cruz Clay to begin the second quarter. Faceoffs have been one of the strengths for Chapman, not just with Eric Torrey, but Ryan Beach, Cody Shevelson also been fantastic at times this season. It's just a matter of can they execute on the offensive end.
Yeah, and I think their ability to execute has been up and down so far. Obviously, in that Colorado State, game that they had, it was a mixed bag of results. I think that having Cody Shevelson in is a great way for them to just have that expertise and have that experience. And his nickname around the campus is Crash Out Cody, and let's see what he can do at the beginning of the second period, partner.
We got a brief stoppage at the scorer's table.
All right, here we go.
Back underway, Cruz Clay gets the best of Shevelson this time.
Possession hopes.
Panthers up 5-2, GCU trying to drop that down to a pair. Not going to happen if Anthony Mills is making plays like that. Mills, champion, lines it up for 90.
Off the assist. Big stick style. Credit to
You can't draw it up any better than that.
Anthony Mills built this play. This was his play. The Cadillac Brody champion topped it off with a goal. But this pass from Anthony Mills to be able to just find the pass, get the ball into the stick of Brody Champion. Every single time Champion has a spot like that, partner, he's going to finish, and he does it perfectly. What is that? 16 seconds gone by. The Panthers on the board already in the second period.
Clay with his second draw control of the game, of the second quarter, I should say. The champ has certainly arrived here in Orange, as we like to say.
Checking in 41, Cam Seymour.
Seymour. Luke Sewell, the Concordia transfer on him.
Dropping in 0, Atterbury.
Garrosh, the Scottsdale native, has Bauman blanketed on him.
35.
Jarred loose. Now for Damian Xiong. Onomoto right in his grill. Attenbury lost the handle. Seymour sidesteps. This defense for Chapman been up to par so far. Coming back on their spring break trip. Inside slip, don't mind. GCU's on the back of the net. Marshall Moore, the senior from Liberty, Missouri, cuts the deficit in half.
And that's just what Moore can do. Obviously, last year, all SLC, 35 goals. No assists, but he has the goal-scoring ability, and he displays it on that instance perfectly to cut the deficit into half.
On the wings for Chaptown, Anthony Mills.
Not used to seeing players go down to the basement against Ryan Sugar. This time it works well for the Lopes. Cruz Clay goes down to the ground. The ball goes flying in the air. Picked up by Mills. Quiet game so far for Nico Orsino. Can they get the senior captain going in the midfield?
I think his transition over to offense this season has been relatively difficult for him. Obviously, ever since he joined this lacrosse team, he's been essentially an MCLA All-American on defense, but it's just his ability to play box to box from one side of the cage to the other. That's what he's good at. Obviously, statistically, he doesn't show as much because you don't have the assists and you don't have the goals, but if he can keep up that energy, I'm sure he'll have an impact on this one.
Miltonberger, Reginelli. Did it squeak its way in? It did not. A scrum down there behind the crease and finally picked up by Rhett Gordon.
It's on attack.
Scare in front of the cage for Grand Canyon. And a loss of the handle. Can Rosselli body check? Oh, what a nifty move there from Brazier. Brazier tripped up, no foul called. And scooped up by Champion, so nonchalant. 3-on-2 for Chapman. Brody Champion. What a defensive play from Ryder Jacobson.
For GCU.
It's frantic down there, as you like to say, partner, popcorn.
Yeah, and I don't blame them at all. I mean, for GCU, you were the last one who scored, so it's just a matter of getting that pressure down now. You scored, let's relax, let's come back together as a team, compose and orchestrate our offense into building something that we can continue doing in this game. And for Chapman, just keeping that pressure. I'm kind of liking this physicality. It's something we haven't seen from this defense in a year and a half now from the Panthers camp.
Garage spins around the alley. Coming around, having to go 35 there for Chapman.
Trigger cleans up the mess.
Working with 16 on the defense. Chapman on attack.
This Chapman defense, a new look. With no Tyler Pandis, Ben Bauman, one of those guys that Joel Callis told us earlier today needed to step up, would get more playing time over the next couple of games. All these underclassmen now getting big moments, especially in the conference season. Champion, nearly a hospital pass for Holden Walker instead.
Dropped in 44 for Chapman.
Back to the X for Reginelli. Rocco. Behind the back from Brody Champion, nearly got Miltonberger. Walker. That one's tipped up and over. It'll go GCU's way.
Back to the loops. Back on attack at 10-21.
Both teams have scored so far in this second quarter just once. Just over 10 minutes left in this second frame.
Dropping in 88.
For GCU, how do you find that run and close this down to a 2-goal, 1-goal game?
I think it all starts with that defensive front that we just saw. Just preventing them from scoring, allowing yourself to take on some pressure from Chapman's offense, and knowing how to deal with it and being confident in your ability to deal with it. If you do that, the best, offense is defense, partner. If they're able to do that, it'll translate over on offense.
Errant pass there.
Over and back is
and an over and back called on Jacobson. Pressure applied from Rocco Reginelli.
Nico starts us out.
Ursino with the catwalk in front of him, now pulls it back.
Checking in 88. Champion checking in 39. 31. Checking in 34.
Brody
Patrick
Babe.
Sebring. Checking in 6.
Sabri.
Tate Wardell.
Long outside with Tate Wardell, the freshman. Young unit out there with Rocco Reginelli as the only upperclassman alongside Pat Sabri. Wardell works its way outside for Champion. Bames pass nearly over the head of Pat Sabri. Panthers playing patient. Wardell sails it over that right post.
Shot clock's at 18.
18 seconds left on the shot clock for Chapman. Trying to restore that 4-goal lead that they've had ever since having a 4-0 lead in the first quarter. Champ snuffed out by Oversteg, the freshman not to be messed with today.
Yeah, and for Oversteg, that's a great way to just kill this offensive drive. Whoa!
Rocco Reginelli just pummeled a man.
Here we go, partner.
Rocco! Bouncer goes just up and over.
Working hard, 5 on the
That was mano-a-mano, and Rocco Reginelli put someone in the dirt.
And that's the first instance or one of the first instances at a home partner that we've seen a challenge like that. That's what they need. Obviously, that TCU game earlier in the year, that one got a little bit chippy as well. You were on the call for that. I'm sure you remember, but that's the physicality that they need to bring. They have the lead, but how can you start dominating instead of just leading in this game? That's the question that will be answered if they're continuing to keep up this physicality on offense.
Champion. Reginelli nearly ripped the ropes once again.
Clock resets at 60.
I think he understands the role he needs to play for the rest of this season with Adam McDonald out for the rest of the year. Don't know how long Jack Cutler's going to be out, and he's certainly been aggressive these past 3 games. Rosselli. Sharpoom. Rocco. Losing the handle on the inside was Miltenberger. Oversteg gobbles it up.
Lopes back on attack.
This time Rocco Reginelli doesn't have the same pain to punishment to put Soner into the dirt. Whistles past the left post. That one from Damian Xiong, the sophomore.
Checking in offense, 17.
Yeah, and you can't blame them for trying to bounce shot. I mean, in lacrosse, there's a little shots that are as difficult to prevent from going into the back of the cage than the bounce shot, just because it's so hard to predict. Both of these teams, however, great goaltenders, so.
Back to Chapman, over back.
Over and back against GCU, sends it back to Chapman's way. They got numbers going forward if they hurry.
Checking in 17, Nico Yoshino.
Does Rosselli notice?
Checking in Holden Walker.
I mean, that looked like a 5-on-3 there, Lucas, and Chapman did not take advantage.
No, they don't, and I personally think that's the right move. So far on offense, although they've slowed down a bit, they've had the ball more. If you have the ball, and I'll repeat this over and over and over again, and any sport partner, whether it be a puck, whether it be a ball, whether it be whatever, if you have any type of possession, that will frustrate the defending team. So if they're able to keep that up, I'm sure it'll end up with the ball in the cage.
Rocco Reginelli right on cue, nearly had it in the back of the net. Carvalho had 2 to begin the game for Chapman. Walker. Champion has 1 today, still eyeing that second. Walker from the 25. Holden Walker!
Holden Walker, near side.
The forces with the Skywalker today.
Doing his thing. It's Star Wars night. Holden Walker, we call him Skywalker.
Doing his thing, as you heard over in the PA right there, and that is perfectly indicative of the type of player that Holden Walker is. Obviously, in that Cal Poly game a couple matches ago, we saw him get the overtime winner, and that's the precision that Walker can do. It's just finding those slight moments where you can just get a shot off. Excellently done from Champion to find him and then just high-low shot. Nothing you can do if you're Matthew Oversteg. And a great goal from the midichlorian man himself.
False start goes against Eric Torrey. Holden Walker, what a season he's primed to have, coming off an all SLC honorable mention.
Dropping in 99 for the Lopes, gentlemen.
Gentlemen. Rocking the double 9s tonight.
Dropping in 4,
Kai Cook. Surfs all the way to his right, nearly found the bottom corner.
Shot clock's at 50.
Just over 5 minutes left in this first half. This Chapman squad very good at coming out of the gates early, up 7-3. We've seen them struggle, however, in these second halves. Gentlemen, bounce shot snuffed out by Sugar.
Back on the go.
Sewell past the timeline.
15 getting us across. Luke Sewell dropping in 39.
Let's see how fast Chapman wants to play on the line change.
And that's one thing that throughout these practices that we've seen sitting in the stands observing how they get ready for games, partner, is their line changes. Making sure no one's offside, making sure you have the right man out there on the field. If Chapman's able to do that successfully, then they'll be able to execute in this game. Flag will be thrown, however, and that might be a rookie mistake on the switch up.
We'll check in on the dirty laundry. We have to assume knows what it means. Wardell. And plucked out by Oversteg, but a 6-on-5 coming up for Chapman. It's those little mistakes that it feels like will start to compound against Jeff Guy's squad if they continue to happen.
Yeah, and you can't blame them for not having these mistakes. Obviously, they haven't played in a long time. Last time against USC all the way back in February, partner. Almost done with March, nonetheless February. But for Joel Callis, he's doing a great job at approaching this game appropriately. You know your team, morale-wise, is a bit on the low. They're hungry, but morale-wise is on the low due to recent fixtures. So he's been doing a great job at corralling their team, calming them down, and maybe soothing the nerves on offense and on defense.
Jeff Guy trying to plead his case to the referees. See the unit, including Reginelli, Holden Walker, Wardell, Rosselli,
Here we go. 403.
Carvalho, and Brody Champion. Panthers looking for that great number 8 on the score sheet today. Reginelli snuffed out. Big time save from Oversteg.
Goalkeeper Oversteg gobbles it up. Clock runs at 3:40.
That ball nearly got thrown into no man's land. Lachaud sails it all the way up and over.
Stays with the Lopes.
It'll stay with Grand Canyon as we get reset with Cole Jensen, who has one of GCU's 3 goals today. Zhang. How can they get him going with his 12 goals this season? That's certainly not going to do it.
Yeah, just a miscommunication there from Caden Hodgkinson. Last season, 11 points in 13 games, not bad. And this season, he had that big goal against Utah Valley, and I think that's been one of the great things about this GCU side. They haven't been scared to play the high roller teams. Number 2 BYU, number 1 Utah Valley. They've been playing those big games and learning from the experiences. It's kind of like how at the beginning of NCAA men's football, you'll have an Alabama play a smaller school, or you'll have maybe a Virginia Tech go play a Power 10 school. You have those big teams playing the maybe not so big teams, which could sometimes end in upsets, but you have those games to learn from opponents, and GCU has been doing that excellently, especially in the midfield section.
Brody pirouettes. Wardell with less than 30 on the shot clock, approaching 2 minutes left in the first half. Champion. Whistles it past, and that one's going to be a turnover against the Panthers. I know it feels a little bit cushy with that 4-goal lead, but if you're Chapman, knowing the history that they've had for these past 2 seasons, cannot take these final 2 minutes for granted.
You truly can't, partner, and it's going to be interesting to see the adjustments that Coach Callis makes at the halftime mark. We've talked to him regarding, hey, how have you been approaching the halftime mark? And he had to say, well, he hasn't really found the equation yet to figuring out how should we approach halftime. So it's going to be interesting to see, regardless of the result that we currently stand, how they're going to go into the half, and especially how they come out from the half into the third period.
Jensen, usually a provider, took one for himself. GCU still trying to find a way to break through the seal of this Chapman defense.
Dropping in 17, Marshall Moore.
Another errant throw.
Taking it out 2-6, George Walter.
Losi, lightning in a bottle.
Checking in 48, Keegan Shutterpool.
Miltenberger from behind the X.
Timeout,
Look at a
Chapman.
timeout taken with 56.1 left on the clock. Joel Callis trying to get the best possible look. Perhaps for that man who's been on another level these past couple of games.
Yeah, he truly has, and you know, he already has a brace, Rocco Reginelli, in this first half. So for Reginelli, he's been doing an excellent job at just adapting to his role. Obviously, coming into the season, maybe you had some other players who could take that offensive ability, like Brody Champion, like Jack Cutler and company. But now that there's injuries galore, now when you need to show up, he's been doing exactly that. Great leadership coming out of the junior.
Jeff Guy, a 3-time SLC champion. You see a 2-time SLC champion in Joel Callis there as well. This Chapman squad looking to get back into the win column after dropping their past 3 games, have never lost 4 games in a row in the MCLA era. It feels unprecedented, the type of success that this team has had. And when we talked with Coach Guy earlier today, he knows that for these players playing in a conference like this, it's part of their recruiting strategy. You get to play against some of the most historic teams within the entire MCLA once you come to GCU or Chapman in this case.
That's completely true, and when you have that ability to say, hey, these are our opponents. We have some high rollers, Oregon State, for example, Utah Valley, BYU, these big teams that both sides are allowed to play. Obviously for Chapman, we saw Texas Christian University come over here to California to face off against them. A big way to recruit good players is that ability to have high echelon opponents, but as well of the opponents is the matchup and the history that this team has. Obviously, me and you, we weren't calling games in 2019, partner, but still, the history remains, especially the earlier mid-2000s, 2016, 17, and 18, the rivalry that both these teams had back then, something unmatched by any team around the MCLA in today's day and age.
Well, we got a little bit of time. What were you doing in 2019?
Well, partner, in 2019, where was I? How old was I? In 2019, I was living on a ranch. We didn't have any internet yet. I was probably kicking a soccer ball up a hill.
We needed to get you a Starlink.
2019. I don't know about Starlink in 2019, partner.
Holden Walker's certainly been a star ever since he came here to Chapman. Out to Carvalho behind the X. Reginelli with those 2 today as well. Champion. Chapman still on the power play. Final 20 seconds of this first half. Ursino jump shot. What a finish!
Back shelf. Working right, shooting left. Nico Ursino.
Ursino, you can't be serious. Chapman up 8-3.
And Nico Ursino, I mean, that's what he does, partner. We'll have a look with Nico Ursino. Top corner finish, and you should expect that out of the former All-American. Delivers perfectly at this late stage in the second period. Known for his defense, shows up on offense. And Ursino, an unreal finish.
Drop it in 41, Cameron Seymour. Timeout, Lopes.
GCU will take a timeout with 11 seconds left on the clock. I'm not sure the last time I've seen a goalkeeper have to shift all the way to that side just for the score to come back to the other side. What a finish from the All-American.
Yeah, and a big thing for Chapman now is that now they got momentum. The last 3 goals in this second period have come from Chapman University at the hands of Reginelli, Walker, and Ursino. So it's just a matter of keeping the ball rolling. You don't need to do anything too eccentric, partner. You don't need to go out and shoot and play hero ball. That's one of the things that this man right here, Coach Joel Callis, has been preaching in the last 2 years that we've been here at the university starting this team, and that he's been trying to have on this team ever since they won the national championship championship years and years ago. But if you're head coach Guy, a lot of work to do. Obviously, Chapman is kind of a first-half team, so you know how to approach it. It's just dusting the cobwebs off for him, getting that midfield running.
Have to wonder for Coach Guy. We asked him what it was like not having that month of playing because they were supposed to play Washington last Sunday. That game gets canceled. Now you have to come out to one of your biggest rivals on the road. It was like he felt confident coming into this game. Certainly felt good with the way that the team had played in practice over the past month or so. However, did acknowledge the fact that rust could certainly be a factor, especially in the early parts of this game, as we'll get a timeout taken by Chapman, it looks like now. 11.2 left on the clock. Panthers up 8-3. If you're GCU, want to make sure that lead goes down to 4 once again. How do you do it on this next play?
Well, it's tough, partner, because we look at the last few games or so. You have USC, Utah Tech, Brigham Young or BYU, and then starting it off with Oregon State and Utah Valley. And in every single one of those games, it's been a relatively quick start from GCU. For example, in that USC game, 7 goals in the first half. So they're familiar with scoring a lot in the first half of matchups. And Chapman, they've done a great job. They've kind of knocked them off, of that one comfortable position that they've been in all throughout the season. And obviously, USC, when you compare them to a team like Utah Valley, well, there's a lot of differences. But still, against Utah Valley, they scored 8 in the first half of the game. So Chapman's done an excellent job at just making them uncomfortable on offense.
Joel Callis pushing all the right buttons, both on the offensive and defensive end. What can GCU conjure up here in the final 11 seconds of this first half?
Here we go.
Here we go, Kai Cook. Trickles down the alley. Instead, he gets tripped up. Luke Sewell from midfield. Chapman up 8-3 at halftime. It was dominance in every sense of the word. And this offense in particular feels like they're cooking once again here in Orange.
You got to give credit where credit's due. Anthony Mills on defense is having an absolute electric game. Although he's a younger player, he's still doing absolutely perfect, especially considering the stakes. A lot of players out injured, and you have new players helping out on defense, like Harris Mirza, the freshman from Tualatin, Oregon. So you have a lot of new players on defense helping out, but so far, for these Panthers, it's been working excellently.
GCU certainly looking for a few other answers, trying to rile up the squad. You see Matthew Savanon, the captain, and his team back on the same page. Meanwhile, for Chapman, always feels like they got a different energy when they're playing at Wilson Field. And these Panthers certainly need your help keeping themselves funded, able to travel on the road. All smiles for Nico Orsino, getting the troops riled up once again. You can support Chapman Lacrosse and help fuel their season. Just scan the QR code on your screen to donate and make an impact today. Chapman up 8-3 here at halftime over the GCU Antelopes. We'll step aside here from Wilson Field. Don't go anywhere. Second half coming up on CSBN. Welcome back to Wilson Field, where the Panthers lead 8-3 over GCU. It was a dominant first half showing for the team from Chaptown. Anthony Mills, Peter Miltenberger getting on the score sheet in that first half. Now it's about continuing to hold that lead against a high-powered GCU offense, which is still looking to find their explosion behind Harrison Garage.
Yeah, they truly are, and I think if they can just find the midfield, I've been preaching this all game, partner, just build the midfield, hold on to the ball, apply some pressure on the attack, even if the shots aren't on target. Just get some shots off, apply some pressure, and then things this game might start switching up for them.
Cruz Clay, Eric Torrey once again out there for the Cosmic Ballet. Clay always molding to his opponent. 3 different Fogos he's had to go against today on the Chapman side.
Very nice done. Very, very well done there, partner.
Got to get a little bit of wordplay in there.
No,
Cruz Clay, what a name.
Cruz
as
Clay,
well.
what a name for a face-off as well. But you have Eric Torrey as well. You know, both of them.
No offense to Eric. I think Cruz Clay's a little bit, well, it has a little bit more pizzazz to it.
Yeah, I got to agree with you on that one, partner.
Well, the Fogo name might go to GCU, but Chapman certainly had the pizzazz on both sides of the ball in that first half. Caden Attenbury got the first goal for GCU. He has it here. Seymour slips inside. Big save from Ryan Sugar. Scooped up by Lucas Losi. Oh, what a flip forward for Hanamoto. The break is on for Chapman. Reginelli, oh man.
Just a bit outside, Chapman in possession.
A few times that we've seen Chapman get out on the break, just simply have not converted.
And that could have been the hat trick for Big Rocker Reginelli. He's been excellent in this game at getting shots off, and that's why I believe that they're up in the lead, because they've been able to just apply pressure on the hands of Oversteg. For any goalie in any sport, if you're getting shots off, your brain slowly is getting a bit dazzled. There are very few goalies who can stay rock solid throughout an entire game with facing shots, facing goals going past you. So, for Matthew Oversteg, bit of an uphill battle.
Pretty rock solid on that last save. The Antelopes will gallop up, but scooped up in the backfield. Let's see what the call is. The referee's still looking around, trying to figure out whose ball it's going to be. And Oversteg is coming out of the game. It looks like we're going to get a goalie change for GCU.
Check that, helmet's coming off. New helmet.
Whoa.
Actually, mark my words, it seems like we needed a helmet change, not necessarily a goalie change. I don't think I've ever seen that before on a lacrosse field.
Well, obviously, I'm sure it's occurred on a lacrosse field beforehand, partner, but from my experience, it might not have. And I believe it's the neck protector that might have come off.
Always got to make sure safety is the utmost priority, especially with Chapman firing the way they have so far today. Miltenberger with 1 in that first. Rosselli still looks for his first goal of the game. Enderly. Oh, what a shot! Shara boom goes Shara boom! Chapman up 9-3.
And where did that one come from, partner? Seemingly out of thin air, Sharpoon came up and nailed that one back. Chapman, similar to how they started the first half, get the first one underway quickly as well. 3.5 minutes gone by, and take a look at this, partner. Sharpoon grabs it down, slider shot, nothing that Oversteg could do on that one.
Sharpoon with the punisher, and that's a big one for Chapman considering the way that they've started these second halves and games that have seemingly slipped away from them over the course of the games despite having a cushy lead at halftime.
Yeah, and that goal will be huge momentum-wise, because now you take a look at Chapman, they've scored the last 4 goals in this game. So, what does that mean for the Panthers? Well, they got the momentum, they got the ball rolling, now it's just a matter of keeping the ball moving. Don't speed it up, don't slow it down. So far, at the pace that they're playing on offense, they could start dominating this game.
Next question is, can they get into double digits? Carvalho. Compact formation for Miltenberger. Skips its way out for Ursino. 40 seconds left on the shot clock for Chapman, electing to be patient once again. Holden Walker! You know what? I'll stop my words right there. The Skywalker with his second of the day, and Chapman into double figures.
Walker Jr. becomes Skywalker.
Oh, listen to that Skywalker, huh? Look at this. Holden Walker gets it. The faint shot, high to low, even if it didn't go in. And this shows the veracity of this Chapman offense. Even if it didn't go in, he had Carvalho waiting, prowling in front of the cage. Beautiful from the junior from Colorado.
Torrey in a scrum with Cruz Clay.
Lucas Losey in control of Chaptown on attack.
And Losey forces two antelopes, gives a stare down to the two lopes colliding into each other. How good has Lucas Losey been? Going from a guy who we saw Joel Callis during his freshman year really push in those practices, didn't get much playing time. Got a little bit more last year, and now he's leading the team in ground balls in year number 3. Sabri. Alfred Miltenberger getting big moments as a freshman in place of Jack Cutler, Adam McDonald. Also have to remember that guys like Adam Orcasitas, Cole Westfall haven't played the entire year with torn ACLs. Champion, sophomore from Concordia. Wardell goes to the basement.
Off the assist from 5. Wardell.
The Killer Clown has showed its eyes in this third quarter. Chapman up by 8.
And wow, Tate Wardell. Although he's only a freshman, a brace in this game. Look at this. Fakes the high pass, takes it back himself. Pass from Reginelli right into him in the throat of the cage. And Wardell was able to do what he always does. Slams that one shut.
Torrey and Cruz Clay go flying towards the ball as GCU will take over once again. Slapped out of the hands, a flag flies. It looks like this one's going against Eric Torrey. Let's go back to the defensive side for GCU. Several times tonight, it just feels like Chapman so easy getting into the heart of that defense for easy looks on overstay.
And it's ironic because when we spoke with head coach Jeff Guy, he said that the offense for GCU was going to be fast-moving, a very high pace. But for Chapman so far, that's how they've been playing. Obviously, coming into this game, both of these offenses have very different styles of play. They like to switch up how they attack, but maybe it's come back to bite him in the behind for Coach Guy, in the sense that Chapman's offense has been playing just like GCU's, and Chapman with a dominant lead at the moment.
Well, Coach Guy telling us that they wanted Chapman to play at their type of pace. So far, they certainly have been. It's just not going the way that GCU would have expected. Marshall Moore. Attenbury, that one takes a deflection off of Ben Bauman. A long stick, Lorax got in the way, and Chapman eating it up once again here to begin the third.
And that's the type of leadership that Ben Bauman has started to show as a starting depot. He hasn't had many opportunities to start.
A vocal guy. Contagious energy, as Joel Callis told us earlier today. Ben Bauman always getting it done on the defensive side, filling in for Tyler Pandis, the junior. Power play coming up for Chapman. Can GCU stop the bleeding? 3 unanswered goals to begin this third quarter for the Panthers. Rosselli onto that favorable left. Switch of the play for Reginelli, who nearly
Pull the trigger.
knocked another
Rocks.
one in.
Just a bit outside. Shots clocks on 20. Check it in Walker. Check it in Tate Wardell. Check it in double fours. Ben Carvalho.
We've seen this Chapman team at times in the past play with a little bit of finesse, play with a little bit of flair. Today it just feels like they're playing with straight aggression and fire. Maybe that 3-game losing streak has this team in a new mindset heading into the conference season.
Yeah, and I think this is a great way to start the SLC games, especially considering how great the SLC has been this season with the likes of San Diego State and Arizona State nationally ranked.
Roselli didn't get the handle on it, otherwise he would have been there point-blank range in front of Oversteg. First game in the Wild West for Chapman this season. JCU obviously coming off that win against USC a month ago. The last game they played coming on February 28th. Oh, what a play. Anthony Mills has been everywhere as a man-eater. And then a tumble to the ground, no flag will fly. This Chapman defense back into their groove the way we saw them begin this season.
Anthony Mills, sophomore.
And that's a lot better from this Chapman defense. Last year, one of the main issues that the Panthers had on defense was just a lack of experience, and some would say the lack of physicality. Obviously, back then, Nico Orsino playing in the defensive midi spot, and you had Hanamoto at the time, the junior, who was still kind of getting accommodated to being a leader. But now, Hanamoto, a senior, Orsino up to offense, and the defensive pole group for Chapman has started to really tighten up.
Wardell. Reginelli flips it out for Tate Wardell. Roselli, Reginelli, Rocco. Almost got it past Oversteg once again.
Save Oversteg.
How good has the junior from Los Gatos been on the attack? But the freshman coming up big once more from Granite Bay, California.
And you have to give a lot of credit where credit's due. He hasn't had much help Oversteg in this game, so if someone else were in goal, the score could be a lot different, partner.
Plucked out, still on his feet. And all the way up ahead of the pack, Ethan Roselli.
Roselli taking it out of the back.
That nearly got a little bit frisky for Chapman instead. They create a turnover out of all the chaos.
Yeah, and you have to give a lot of credit to Ethan Roselli. Obviously came from Concordia, which is one of the better teams in lacrosse here in Southern California, NCAA Division II, I believe. So for Roselli, he has that experience playing against physical players, and excellently done from him just to keep his composure.
Walker. Chapman orbits the perimeter. Bounce shot. Nearly gets it to go and scooped up by Jacobson.
On the save, Oversteg.
We approach 6 minutes left in this third quarter. It's been all Chapman to begin this third frame. 3 unanswered goals. A floated ball. Can Oversteg get there? He will, just in time before the boundary.
Oversteg digging it out.
They had to get it over the timeline. And GCU somehow comes away with it after all the commotion. That felt like a lackadaisical pass there with guys going forward for GCU.
Yeah, it truly did, but I think that was a really smart decision there from Oversteg just to clear the ball out. Obviously, Chapman's been riding them so aggressively in this game that really the only way that they've been able to deal with their pressure on offense is just to lob that ball all the way up, a cupcake into the sky. And in that instance, well, it might not have worked out for them on offense, but hey, at least the ball is on their offensive side and not vice versa with the Panthers.
Gentleman jolts to the backside. Orsino, the All-America defensive midi. Senior on sophomore. Xiong, errant pass once again. Seymour's not even going to chase. How good has this Chapman defense been in this third quarter?
Well, I pride myself to be an unbiased journalist and an unbiased broadcaster partner, but these are simply the facts. Chapman's defense, in comparison to any single other game, has been absolutely excellent. This has probably been one of their best defensive fronts that they've had all season long. So you have to give a lot of credit. The physicality has been the difference maker in this game, partner, on defense.
Sabri lined up the shot, nearly had it to go. Big time rip from the junior.
Shot clock at 52.
Panthers on a 3-game skid currently. You would not know it by looking at the score sheet tonight. Wardell. Reginelli, Wardell spins. Wardell nearly had another.
That one goes 6. Wardell just outside. Shot clock's on 26.
Los Angeles native nearly showing off that Hollywood shine. Brody Payne snuffed out. Fantastic save made there by the freshman.
And you got to give Oversteg a lot of credit on that one. The pace on that ball coming from Bame was of absolute importance, and the fact that he was able not only to just bring it down and collect it for himself, but to keep on with possession. Very impressive, considering the fact that, well, he's only a freshman, partner, still kind of getting used to the collegiate lifestyle.
Chung sends it out for Seymour. Seymour lined it up, nearly found it. Oh, at the pylon. GCU still looking for their first goal of the third quarter. Cam Seymour, the junior from Littleton, Colorado. Big time shot from Garage.
His first of the evening.
First of the night for the leading scorer of the Antelopes. And GCU down 11-4.
And you have to say, Harrison Garage, an excellent job for the freshman, to just be able to find any space in front of the cage against these Panthers. We'll take a look at here again. The missed shot coming from the hands of Cameron Seymour, who hasn't really been at it so far in this game. Hasn't had the best game on offense, but in this case, his teammate Garage able to step up to the plate, get one for his team, but still a lot of work to do for GCU if they want to crawl their way back into this one, partner.
Going to need a big final 3 minutes, 2 seconds in this third quarter. That goal stopping a 3-goal streak for Chapman. Torian Clay. Always in a kerfuffle this time. Picked up by Soner.
Dropping in 41.
Shannon Anamoto always in hot pursuit. Seymour.
Double nines, Jack Gentleman.
Kai Cook, what can GCU put in his kitchen? Seymour spins onto that right. Might have taken a deflection off the bar. Lucas Losi going fast and furious. Picked up by Mason Shaw. Garage has it jarred loose. Mirza out of the pack. Flip back for Ursino. Now Chapman can slow it down with less than 2 minutes left in this third quarter.
Dropping in 2-5.
Pitch and catch between Sharpum and Rosselli. Enderly back in. Reginelli. Sharapoom. Here's Rosselli. Brody Champion skids it just beyond that left post. We'll get a quick change on defense for GCU. Enderle, inside feed, Miltonberger on the money.
25-1 goal. Peter Mittenberger, 25 on the assist. Fred Enderle, second goal for Mittenberger on
The
the
freshman finds Twine, and Chapman back up by 8.
Peter Mittenberger, freshman, Portland, Oregon style.
You have to give a lot of credit where credit's due. Miltonberg, right place, right time for the freshman. But let's look at this pass from Enderle. Look at that, over the head of a defender, and Miltonberger was by himself. No crease violation for him. Excellent footwork, excellent finish. And only a minute, remaining on that clock.
Cruz Clay nearly took it all the way himself. It'll stick with GCU with 52 left on the clock.
Drop it in 17, Marshall Moore.
Final 45 seconds of this third quarter. Inside slip, GCU has the answer right back. Kai Cook cooking in the kitchen. GCU not willing to go away without a fight.
The Panthers defense has had to eat that one up. An excellent finish from Kai Cook, and the senior from Colorado, one of the few upperclassmen that this team has. We'll take a look at it here again. Fakes a shot, outsmarts Hanamoto in this case, and gets past Ryan Shugart, who's been having an excellent game so far. We said your name over the PA system, partner.
I'm not sure if that was meant for me. I think I got to give it to the All-American who now has the ball.
Oh, there you go.
I'll take a little bit of credit.
Yeah, we put in work up here in the broadcaster's booth.
Here comes Nico. And a shove in the back. No mind for the former football player. Rocco Reginelli, a rocket into the top corner.
Off the assist from Walker.
I mean, look at this, Lucas.
Second goal of the evening.
That looks like it corkscrews all the way up, and nothing Matthew Overstead could do in the cage.
Absolutely nothing, and well, Reginelli's just been sitting and getting comfortable in this offensive position that they've put him in. A lot of trust from Joel Callis to put him there, and well, you can't say too much about Overstay. No one is saving that rocket of a shot into the near post.
Final 9 seconds of this third quarter. Joel Callis always talking about those halftime adjustments. It feels like Chapman hasn't quite had them in the games where they've lost it in the second half so far today. Seems like he's gotten all the right things out of his players. Can they get one final one before the horn? Looks like we got a clock mess up, because I'm not quite sure how you get 8 minutes and 79 seconds on a clock.
13, GCU 5.
Either way, Chapman up 13-5 at the end of the third quarter, and what a showing from them here in the third frame.
And a lot of the credit, and all the credit goes to this man right here. He's been through so much adversity this season, Coach Joel Callis. And finally, the Panthers are able to hold on to something after the halftime. Currently, as it stands, this game, the least goals that they've given up on defense in the season. The lowest that they gave up was 6 on Michigan State. The tribute to military people who served, keeping our country safe. You gotta love a little bit of patriotism, don't you, partner? Huh?
I mean, the way that these guys are playing right now has me feeling like I want to sing some Freebird, say some America. GCU, a few more solemn looks on their side. How do they find a quick start in these first 5 minutes or so of the final quarter?
I think you have to mix things up. Now, obviously, Coach Jeff Guy, he's been around the ringer, 7 years at the helm for the Lopes, and I think it's just a matter of improving what you can. Obviously, when you're down by 8, it's going to take a lot to crawl your way back up into this one. So I think if they just take this game goal by goal, they'll be able to get something out of it. But when you have guys like Tay Wardell pumping the chest, it's always difficult to prevent such a superstar like him. And obviously in the long run, this game could mean a lot, especially considering that illustrious 4th place spot in the SLC, which is always so competitive with GCU and Chapman.
Panthers currently at 4-4 overall. Tussle between Ryan Beach this time and Cruz Clay. Panthers will take over. First opportunity to draw blood here in the final frame. Here comes Pat Sabri. Brody Bame, Tate Wardell, bumping the chest. Here comes Miltonberger. Sabri lost the handle on it. Straight into the net of Matthew Oversteg with a big save.
And you have to give a lot of credit to these Panthers. That's the first crease violation that we've seen, and it came all the way in the 4th period, so they've been excellent, especially considering how they've been developing the attack. They've been really squeezing the fine line of, is their foot inside the line or not?
Top shelf and in. What a finish. Kai Cook, back-to-back goals.
Second of the evening. Goal comes 4th period. 14-7.
Well, you have to say, for the Lopes, Kai Cook in the kitchen, cooking it up. Add some sauce on that with the bounce into the back of the cage, and you have to give credit to Ryan Sugar. Only 6 gone by him, but still, goal by goal. It's just a matter of taking this game, getting the most out of it as possible, and Kai Cook, a brace for him. Excellently done.
Lucky number 11 on the season for Kai Cook, senior from Littleton, Colorado. Cruz Clay. Can Cook find a 3rd straight? Instead, he pulls it back.
41-17, drop it in for the Lopes.
Zoner, back-to-back goals to open up the 4th.
Solo, Tyler Soler, freshman. Spokane, Washington, on the board, 13-52.
Spokane's finest.
First goal of the evening.
Certainly speaking loud, and GCU still down by 6, but they've certainly added an extra fire to begin this 4th quarter.
Well, we know that Soner has that dog in him. He had 3 points against the best team in the MCLA with Utah Valley. An excellent composure from him to just keep on going in this game. Keep trying to rip something out of this game to take home with you, and a goal for him. Excellently done from the freshman.
Ryan Sugar certainly had to be a little bit stunned with what he just saw in the past minute 15.
Beach sophomore out of San Diego.
Henderly, Rosselli, and Sharpoom. Here's Champion. Didn't call his name much in the 3rd quarter after being very involved in the first half. Oversteg doesn't have it. Enderly gets pushed around. Champion behind the back. And out of the pack comes Ryder Jacobson.
Ryder Jacobson.
Six-goal lead for Chapman, but back-to-back goals for GCU. Certainly making it a little bit more interesting considering what we've seen from these Panthers these past 2 seasons.
Yeah, well, it's been a flip of the script in the sense that in the third period, it was old Chapman who started off scoring with 3. And in this fourth, well, it's been old GCU. A stick break. Did a stick break down there, partner? Do my eyes deceive me, or did someone just drop it?
Well, it looks like Rosselli went for the stick check.
Timeout, GCU.
We'll get a timeout taken by the Antelopes as it looks like they'll get a power play coming up out of this one.
So whipped out of his hand on that stick from Rosselli. And, well, you have to say, although Chapman does have a really dominant victory, on the personal note, they're known around the MCLA as the team that kind of falters towards the end of their games consistently throughout this season.
All right, quick shout out.
And in this game, you got to prove them wrong. Just start applying the pressure, getting shots off. If they can do that and prevent GCU from scoring easy shots, I think it's going to be a night to celebrate for these Panthers.
3 quarters in, Chapman already has their second most goals scored this season, back-to-back games, above a dozen. GCU trying to cause a little bit of chaos once again on this final Friday of spring break here at Chapman University.
Look at that Hawaiian shirt, partner. Oh my goodness.
He's certainly still
that
on
was a nice
spring
Hawaiian
break.
shirt.
He's certainly still on spring break.
Yeah, he certainly is still on spring break. That was incredible.
Might be a little bit more business casual for Joel Callis right now, you have to say that.
Yeah, and you can't blame Joel Callis for starting to feel a bit more relaxed. Obviously, for him, a great game so far. And if you're the 4th-year head coach, well, calm your guys down. You've been in this scenario before, and you've been around. You've been around when Chapman has had success and when Chapman has had failure. So you just got to coach him up in these final stages.
Kai Cook shuffles. Xiong. Attenbury with Luke Sewell in front. Seymour. Three left to shoot. Do they notice? At the horn, and it skims all the way across.
Expires back to Chapman.
I guess everyone on GCU didn't realize, including on the bench, that they only had 3 seconds left until it was too late.
Yeah, and you can't really blame him for that, partner. Obviously, the shot clock is against them at the moment, going in favor of the Panthers, but still, if you're a bench, you got to check that. You just got to be help your boys out on the field. Tell them, hey, man, we got 20 seconds to shoot. Let's go. You know, we still got to get something out of this game. Getting fired up here, partner.
Got some major onions during March Madness. Orsino's always cooking in the kitchen. Now for Holden Walker. Carvalho. Orsino, the former All-American. The spin shot taken down by Oversteg. Still with it on the ricochet.
Ben Carvalho. Trash can style.
Trash can hat trick for Ben Carvalho. And Chapman double their lead once again.
Quarter 44. Ben Carvalho, freshman.
And that's exactly what Ben Carvalho does. That's the second goal that we've seen him just be in the right place at the right time. Look at this. Look at this scrappiness on this kid. Picks it off, does a 180, and then puts it into the back of the net. Perfection coming at the hands of the freshman. The ace from Vegas makes it 14.
Possession violation goes against GCU. Big time goal for Chapman to stop the bleeding after back-to-back from GCU to open up the fourth. Second line back out there with Wardell, Babe, and Pat Sabri, who has it at the 35-yard line. Can Brody Babe get on the party? Champion carves inside and off the skirt.
Champion side goal. All those long goals. Nothing brewing.
Oversteg gobbles it up in the end.
We haven't really seen much from him, and frankly speaking, you can't blame him, especially considering his role now as more of a facilitator on offense for the Panthers, considering the injuries that they have. You can't blame him for just kind of slowing down the pace and allowing his teammates to come up and help with him, but credit where credit's due. Rocco Reginelli and the rest of this offensive front for them have been doing excellently to help him out.
Kai Cook, can you believe it?
Come around.
Making Bobby Flay proud with that one in the kitchen.
For Kai Cook. 3-style. Hat trick. Kai Cook.
We'll have a look here. Look at this goal from Kai Cook. Sugart with some frustration signs, but credit where credit's due. Oh me, oh my, Kai Cook. Smiling cheek to cheek over there, Nico.
He's playing with fire. I think you might be playing with some fire as well. My goodness. Sorry, you're playing with fire. He's on fire right now with a hat trick so far today. GCU not going away, still down by 6. Final 9.5 here in orange.
Cameron Seymour. Checking in 17, checking in 0. Dropping in Chaptown 15, Luke Sewell.
It'll take quite the comeback for the Antelopes to get their second straight SLC win. Chapman simply looking to hold on. Ryan Sugar always composed in the cage.
And that's more like it from the sophomore. Obviously, last year he was freshman player of the year in the SLC, and in this second half of lacrosse, he's been a bit lackluster, you could say. Obviously, you have a big lead, but still, for personal accolades' sake, you want to keep that save percentage up, and great to see him make a save and maybe start returning to his goal-saving ways.
Dropping in 4-8. Keegan Sharpoon. Dropping in 2-5.
Sharpoon
Brett Enderly.
flips it over for Enderly. Enderly back to the top. Champion down to one knee, now comes back for Ethan Rosselli. Lobbed up for the transfer from Moore Park. Sharpoon shuffles. Keegan Sharpoon nearly had another. For all the injuries that the Panthers have had on offense, it certainly feels like something's clicked in these past 2 games. Champion, a Cadillac move on the ricochet, and it's perfectly back into the safe hands of Matthew Oversteg.
Similar to a Cadillac, a hydraulic shot with him on the balance, but just not able to get past Oversteg. And you have to say, partner, if Oversteg wasn't in the cage for GCU, this game could be in the 20s. Although he's allowed 14 to go by him, he's had an excellent game nonetheless in the cage.
Marshall Moore had one of those 3 first-half goals for GCU. Saw another team playing in purple and white, ending in the letter CU. Ben Bauman took a shot on that shot. Ryan Sugar deflected it up. Now Chapman on the offensive end. Looks for a quick break. Rosselli with the whip around. Final 7 minutes of this 4th quarter. Hasn't been easy for Chapman, but it certainly feels more composed than what we've seen in the past.
It 100% has, partner. And although they have given up a few sloppy goals here in the 4th period, still, their ability just to compose themselves and not allow things to get out of hand has been great.
Champion, big deflection from Oversteg. Bodies go flying, and now GCU can run. Zoner. Kai Cook, it took a deflection off a 7-on.
That's my boy right there. 2 deflection shots off of his own chest. And Ben Bauman, this, in my opinion, his standout game when it comes to defending, especially aggression. Look at him. Look at him locking him up. Garage can't do anything, and he's their main scorer.
Ben Bauman certainly with his fingerprints all over this one on the defensive end. And gentlemen get a few touches in to close this one out for GCU. Cook. Been nearly perfect in this second half, however, this one goes awry. Taken away by 2 guys. Here comes Colin Sproul. Reginelli gobbled up. Oversteg. Like you mentioned, if he wasn't in the cage, this one could easily be a 25-goal game for Chapman. In transition and bounced up and over from Brager.
And that's a wasted opportunity on the counterattack for GCU. Only 2 goals away from making it a 4-goal game. But as it stands now, they need 6 in 5 minutes and 16 seconds. And for Coach Joel Callis, you're in a comfortable spot, but you could be more comfortable, couldn't you, partner?
Chapman certainly playing with a little bit of extra fire on this 3-game skid. Meanwhile, on the GCU side for Coach Guy, these last few sequences that we've seen a little bit more akin to what we were expecting with that coast-to-coast offense for both teams trying to play with a fast pace.
Yeah, it truly has, and you have to give a lot of credit to Coach Guy. I'm sure maybe in between the 3rd period and the 4th, he said, hey guys, we're still in this game. We can still take something of this game. And I've never seen a miracle with my own eyes, partner. But GCU on offense, they've been running rampant in this 4th period. 5 minutes and 18 seconds. And I can't write it off, but look at that. Cousin George. Who's got Cousin George? Are they talking about George Hausner for the Panthers? They might be.
I think it might be George McGurk.
You know what? You might have gotten me, partner. Not too many Georges on the team.
Well, you got George Walter, you got George Hausner. George McGurk, obviously a legend of this Chapman program. I mean, there's been plenty of famous Georges. George Washington,
Yeah.
Curious George.
Curious George, huge. This man right here is famous after this game, Ben Bauman. Look at him.
He might need to change his name to George Bauman after this.
No, but him alongside Ryan Sugar, I mean, obviously both of them only in their sophomore year, still a lot of time to develop as players and as teammates.
Wraparound from Garage does not go. GCU, fewest goals that they've scored so far this season. That includes the 2 games they had against number 1 Utah Valley, where they had 13, and number 2 Brigham Young, putting up 11 goals on BYU right on cue. 4th for number 4, Kai Cook once again.
And oh my goodness, Kai Cook. 4 goals in 1 half of lacrosse. Look at this, high-to-low shot and leaves Sugart with his legs spread open in the cage. And now this game, a lot closer than we might have anticipated in this 4th period, partner.
Ryan Beach gives a big-time shot, no flag, and finally it does fly. Joel Callis cannot believe the call.
Oh my goodness. Ryan Beach, we'll have a look here. Just look at that. Nothing you can do, and if you're Ryder Jacobson, I mean, you're not expecting that from a Fogo, are you, Nico? I mean,
well, I think I've seen that on this field, except it was from Tate Zimmerman earlier in the fall.
Tate Zimmerman, what Defensive Player of the Year here in the Division III Conference of SCIAC. And for Coach Joel Callis, I mean, you gotta maybe like the physicality, but still, you can't make any mistakes, partner. GCU 5 goals away from making this a 14-14 game. And they got a decent amount of time to do it as well, considering the rate that they've been scoring.
Well, everything is run through Kai Cook in this second half. Seymour, quick time shot.
9 to go, Harrison Gurash.
Still with GCU. That was Harrison Gurash, still with only 1 goal today. The leading goal scorer for GCU. Just a freshman, what a force he's going to be for years to come with Jeff Guy.
And so far, his connection with senior Kai Cook, I mean, it's been the 1-2 punch.
Over and back is the call.
Third time tonight we've seen an over and back go against GCU.
Drop it on 3-9. Chapman.
Brody Bain gets us underway once more. 4 minutes left. And some extra change here at Wilson Field.
Dropping in 6, T. Wardell.
Feels like if you're Chapman right now, you got to simply chew out some of this clock. GCU wasted no time on the defensive end, however. In transition, Brager lost the handle, and Ben Bauman picks it up. Takes a tip, and somehow Bauman comes away unscathed as Shandon Hanamoto can reset.
With the two deep holes connecting one-on-one with each other, and smart decision there from Hanamoto. Just get it away from the goal. In this fourth period, it's all just been GCU on offense. Maybe start stacking the box. Maybe in the soccer terminology, park the bus. If you're Chapman, obviously still a 5-goal lead with 3.5 minutes, maybe a little under remaining on the clock, but we've seen stuff like this from the Panthers in the past where they've had the lead and then at the end they give it up, like that TCU game earlier in the season.
Seymour, a one-man wrecking crew, nearly got it all the way to the goal.
Stay true with the loops.
Garrosh resets.
Sugar.
Taken down. Ryan Sugar,
Harrison Gurash.
always sweet. Losi takes a check. Looks like he's in for another one. .238 left on the clock. Rocco Reginelli once again pacing the way for Chapman with a hat trick. Marcelli lost it on the handle. Zoner runs into 4 different black shirts, somehow comes away with it.
Timeout, Lopes.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, I'm not sure if the whistle didn't go that Ryan Sugar would have been on high alert, but that one ended up in the back of the net right before, I should say right after, Jeff Guy called timeout.
Well, if you're Harrison Garrosh, I mean, a big stab in the back from your head coach on that one. Obviously, there's no way to predict, especially in a game as fast as lacrosse, when a goal is coming and when it's not, but a missed opportunity from Jeff Guy, and only almost 2 minutes remaining in this fourth and final period. And at this stage of the game, partner, on offense, you need your high rollers, your aces to start showing up. And for the Antelopes, you gotta just put the ball to the cradle of Kai Cook. Jeff Guy, he has experience coaching. He's been around the SLC for a while now. And that'll be up to him and this GCU side to flip up the script and make a movie out of this game.
Antelopes still down by 5. This Chapman defense has come to play. It hasn't necessarily been the prettiest in this second half at times, however, still holding strong. Currently on collision course for their 4th win at home. GCU certainly has woken up in this second half. Haven't played in a month ever since that win over USC on February 28th. Bauman causing havoc on the defensive end once again for Damian Xiong.
35 of the defense for Chapman.
Seymour spins into trouble, now spins out of it. Kai Cook has his fifth.
Why wouldn't you have a fifth? Kai Cook.
He is
5
sizzling.
goals. We'll go to 147. Kai Cook on a heater.
We'll have a look here, partner. Bauman, he's been so good on defense, especially on the physicality side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave it goodbye. Kai Cook, 5 goals in a game that without a doubt has been arguably his best on the season. And Kai Cook, 3 back-to-back goals from him. A hat trick consistently. And now GCU around a minute and a half remaining and 4 goals to push it into overtime.
Make that 9 goals in 2 games for Kai Cook. He's been playing with fire here in the SLC to begin.
Drop it in 48, drop it into 25 for Chapman.
Ursino simply trying to weigh out this final minute 15. Chapman with their sights set on Arizona State coming to town Sunday morning for a big-time battle against the Sun Devils. Grand Canyon going down south to San Diego State. A resurgent Aztecs team, now 7-3 on the season. Big shove in the back. Rosselli gets up out of it. No goalkeeper out there for GCU, as Oversteg is man marking Peter Miltenberger. This game nearly done and dusted. Plenty of dirty laundry out there in favor of Chapman. Final shot, Rocco Reginelli. The icing on the cake.
You're breaking stuff up here. That's how powerful that shot is from Reginelli. This game, without a doubt, has just been the Rocco Reginelli show in the sense that he has been dominant on offense. It's been all Kai Cook, but power and power, it solves everything, partner. And on both sides of the teams, this time, Chapman get their 15th. And what a way to do it as well, partner.
Rocco Reginelli playing like a man on a mission. Let's see if Kai Cook's got some extra fireworks in these final few seconds. Pass that does not work out for Seymour. Mills powers through. Here's Eric Torrey, the Fogo.
Anthony Mills working hard all night long.
One final chance. He'll throw it all the way over to the far side. Chapman, a big-time win, 15-10 over GCU. They snap their 3-game skid, and it's all smiles for Ryan Sugar and company.
Well, you gotta say, partner, I mean, from an individual's perspective, Kai Cook, 1 goal away from a double hat trick in this one, but it was the Panthers who got the win, and credit where credit's due. They were this close, and for those of you who can't see us up in the booth from home, maybe an inch or 2 close from losing 4 in a row, one of the worst records in program history, but they showed up, they dominated, they might have fluctuated a bit in the 4th, but still able to hold on to the win. And excellent from these Panthers, back in the saddle again.
That sweet Caroline feeling once again back at Wilson. Ryan Sugar waves to the home crowd as the Panthers win this one 15-10 over GCU. So far, our entire crew here at CSBN, our director, Zachary Woodford, our producer, Marissa Johnson, my partner in crime, Lucas Patton. I'm Nico Schwegler saying so long from Orange. We'll see you on Sunday as Chapman takes on Arizona State at 11 a.m. Have a great rest of your weekend, and thank you for watching.